Besties, let me tell you a story of a friend of mine that moved from just being a friend in my eyes to being a smart investor. Let me tell you what he did. So in 2015, he bought a piece of land, a plot of land for about 600,000 naira. And guess how much it is worth now in 2025? About 12 million naira. Yeah, do the calculation. Now, mind you, he did not just buy the land and even build on it. There was no block. He just had this land and grass and a vision, and it's made him rich. I mean, look at it, 600,000 naira and 12 million naira. That's a good margin, but yet a lot of people buy these lands. Some they smile, but some they cry, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about land banking. Hi, it's Perfect Joy, your real estate bestie, and today we're talking about land banking and how you can do land banking a smart way. I would always tell people that land is low maintenance, right? But it is not just about buying a land and chilling. It's about strategy, because if you do it well, you get power, you get value. But if you do it wrong, you're gonna cry. A lot of people right now, because of how poorly they went about their investment, are crying right now. And that's why I said at the beginning, sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh. And you honestly do not want to be part of the people who are crying. I'll tell you another story, and you tell me if this person was a smart investor or a desperate investor. Now, he hit some cash and he was like, yes, I want to invest, but he did not want to build, he just wanted to get land, right? Which is not bad, and that's what we're talking about. So he went, he got a land. Although there was a problem. What was the problem? He had no documents, no allocation. He did not even know if it was FCDA approved. Somebody just came to him and said, oh, there's land, there's land. And of course, he wanted to buy some land because he was trying to, put his money somewhere. He did that, and years later, no documents. And I'm sure you probably heard this thing before, that somebody buys a land and then there are no document. But it is actually real. There are a lot of people who do not take their documents seriously. And so somebody just comes and say, oh, I want to buy you, I want to sell you land, and then they just carry the land back, carry their money and give. And you know what I call those kind of people? They're just being general. I'm going to be telling you the things you should do before you go into land banking to make sure you do not fall victim of being what? A desperate investor. So you already know how we do it here. When you do the right investment, you're a smart investor. But when you do it wrongly, you're a desperate investor, because regardless of whatever you say, there's a hint of desperation to why you did not do your due diligence before getting a land, right? Now, there are three checklists you have to follow before doing land banking, okay? And we're going to go right into it. Number one, location. Now, regardless of the kind of place you want to buy a land, because you're not building on it does not mean you should not buy it in a place that may develop in the future. Because like I said before, there are places that will give you returns on investment, and there are places that will give you nothing. Imagine staying in a place whereby you were paying 100,000 naira in 2015, and in 2025 it's still 100,000 naira. Tell me, how is that a good deal? Exactly. So before you make an investment, you ask around, what is coming up here, what is going to be happening, is this going to be an industrial place, is this going to be an estate? Ask questions. And it's fine to ask questions, and people might want to be like, oh, you're just buying it for land banking, you don't even want to build on it, why are you asking those questions? It's okay. What if you decide to want to build on it? You don't want to buy a land whereby years, in 10 years, nobody cares literally about it. Next up is title verification. Now, there are tons of documents that you ought to have as a landowner. Of course, allocation documents, you need to have documents that states that you are now the owner. And sometimes you are inclined to just buy land from anybody, and then they just rip off a sheet of receipt and they give it to you. What about your contract? A contract binding you and the person who sells the land to you, because that is very important. Offer letters, you need all the documents that states that you are the owner. So whenever you're buying a property, make sure there's a contract binding you and the company, binding you and the person. And honestly, I would always tell you this: don't go and buy from one uncle that will tell you that the land is his father, brother. Don't do that. When you do that, you are setting yourself up for failure. And I know you say, bestie, you talk about this thing always. Exactly. I will talk about it. Due diligence. Okay? I've said this thing so much that now I sound like a broken record. Due diligence is important. Who owns the land? Where is this land coming from? What title does this land own? Oh, I have a story for you. So recently, very recently, somebody called me, I was on an inspection and he said to me, oh, there's somebody who wants to talk to you. He may want to purchase a land. And I was like, yes, sure. Let me talk to this person. And the person asked a very interesting question that, yeah, I knew that this person knew his tea. Now, he was asking those questions because he has gone through something before. He had a bad land banking experience, and that taught him a valuable lesson. And instead of him to shove that lesson and just be like, just one bad day in the market, he took that and he rode with it. So, in essence, when you are faced with a situation where you are being coerced to not do your due diligence, oh, yeah, you don't need to bring your lawyer, or you do not need to go to the AGs to go and check your land, refuse that. Refuse that and choose to do what you ought to do to make sure the land is legit. Best is, so if you are interested in land banking and understanding the intricacies about land banking, what it entails, what you have to do, where you have to go, you are the right place. We have investment advisors that are able and capable and available to you at all times to hold your hands through every decision you make. Don't you like that? You're like having another bestie, but I'm your bestie, okay? But I'm gonna just let you have that one. So you have people who will hold your hands through every investment journey you start with us. And even if it is not with us and you made a bad purchase before, tell us in the comment section below and let's talk about it, okay? So I'm going to share you how you can actually start your investment journey wiser. Okay. Number one, diversify. You don't have to just decide that, oh, I want to buy in Kuje, because we are humans and we like comfort, we like our safe space. You know what to expect when you buy a land in Kuje, but then again, there are so many other places. How about you buy in Kuje, you buy in Hutu, you buy in Idu, you buy in Solaris Court? When you spread your investment like that, your money increases differently. And you know what, it's so much pride, so that when you are looking at your documents, you see different names. You're not just seeing Kuje, 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 Kuje. They swear for you. 2, play the long game. Let me even make it clearer. Ponzi scheme, land banking is not a Ponzi scheme. Put your hand on your chest and say, I say land banking is not a Ponzi scheme. Okay, because when you buy a land, you don't expect it to appreciate just immediately. Number one. Number two, you don't expect your returns on investment just immediately. It is low maintenance, but it is long term. Yes, underline that when you are writing this little custody. It is low maintenance, but it is long term. The essence of buying the land is to build wealth. Okay, people buy land for generational wealth. They buy land for so many diverse purposes. And so do not buy a land and then you're already panicking and saying, oh, in 3 months I'm going to sell the land and get your money back. So relax your mind, do what you have to do, buy your land and relax. Allow it to appreciate. You see how you guys do crypto, all those cryptos and the rest. Of course, you don't expect to put your money in crypto and collect it immediately. It teaches you patience, and that's the same thing land teaches you, patience. Buy from trusted developers. And I know a lot of people have stories to tell about developers. There was one that sat me down one day and his only mission was to talk about developers and how they've done him dirty. And I could not tell him that, no, oh, don't know, you just went to the wrong developer. Because how do we know that it's the wrong developer? Do you understand? So he literally was talking about how developers have done him dirty, and I genuinely felt bad because it was a thing to legit developers that are happy to help. So in essence, stay with a legit developer. Like, make your findings. Just because you want to develop a house or you want to build your house, don't just go and meet anybody. Invest in growing places. Okay, I know sometimes we're tempted to buy that 300,000 naira land, but think, what can I do with this land? If I ever decide to do something here, what can I do with it? You have to go to satellite areas. You have to think about infrastructure. You have to think about development. Like Idu now, there was a time when nobody would want to go to Idu, but as soon as that railway hit, Idu has become the talk of town because it doesn't just have the railway, it has industries. Do you understand what I'm saying? Exactly. So you have to think about this thing long term. And yes, because a land is cheap, okay, does not mean it is no good. But the returns on investment may be different. I remember being in school back then and somebody wanted to buy land. I didn't know much about lands then, but now that I think about it, I was like, that was such a brilliant idea. Why? It was a student area. And students are always looking for houses. So one way or the other, there is income coming in. It might not be like Wuse or Guzape, but of course, for somebody in their early 20s or early 30s, or you're just trying to make something of yourself, that was a beautiful investment. So with these things, whenever you are deciding to start your land banking business, your land banking experience and investment, you have to think about all the factors I've laid out for you. Like I said, you should, I hope you guys came with your pen and your paper. I would have said this earlier, but you're supposed to know that we are in class. If you are in your 20s, your 30s, it is such a good time to land bank. You have time to purchase a land and let it increase, or you can even buy the land and decide to start your development while you go on to do every other thing in your life. Now, because you're buying a land does not mean that, oh, tomorrow you're going to move in. Of course not. Sometimes it takes people 3 years to develop their land, but it is fine. You know why? Because they are developing it and they own it. They are developing it and they own it. But imagine your 20s come and go, your 30s come and go, no land. Honestly, it's a cause for question. Ladies, before you marry that man, ask him, do you have lands? Yes. Maybe fifth date question. My kind of women are the ones who brag with documents. Like when they go bands for bands with you with documents and land documents, you just know that this woman knows what she's doing. Yes. And I know it might not seem like the easiest thing. And that is why we have our promo. For our land going for 2 million naira in Kuje, it's one of those ones that the ladies can just go for. And yes, it might just seem like, oh, so people will be like, oh, the land is 2 million. Do I move it easy? So with that being said, it was nice talking to y'all. Make sure you drop a comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on our next video. Ciao.